All right, Shalom. First, let's start by saying all praise to Yahweh, Bashim Shai, Bashim Kakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles that rule well, and salutations to the brothers that's doing the truth and sincerity. This is a quick lesson on what's going on in Texas in this winter freeze. As you can see, the title is NBC Nightly News Broadcast for February, so on and so forth. So I'm going to go ahead and play the clip and then bring out some precepts.
Tonight, the deepening disaster in Texas as that massive winter storm pushes into the Northeast. Hundreds of thousands of homes without power for the fourth straight day in Texas. And now the scramble for clean water. 7 million residents ordered to boil their water before using it. Some resorting to melting snow. Hospitals running out of water, evacuating patients. I'll talk to the Houston mayor. The firestorm for Senator Ted Cruz after flying with his family to Cancun, while people in his home state are freezing and without food and water. How he's defending himself. As the massive storm causes vaccination delays, growing fears over variants. Pfizer tonight on whether the mutations may require a third shot. And the staggering toll from COVID, the biggest drop in life expectancy since World War II. Dr. Anthony Fauci, one-on-one, what he said about whether teachers need to be vaccinated before schools reopen. The new federal investigation over COVID deaths in New York's nursing homes. And the fellow Democrat who says Governor Andrew Cuomo threatened him for speaking out. And touchdown on Mars after a 7-month journey, NASA's Perseverance mission, all coming down to a nail-biting 7 minutes.
This is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Good evening, everyone. From the deep freeze and days without power to now a water crisis. Millions of Texans tonight tired, cold, and increasingly desperate. Right now, much of the South under federal states of emergency following those crippling winter storms that overwhelmed Texas's power grid. 1 million or more people still in the dark, with millions more without drinkable water, melting snow for basic needs. We'll take you there in a moment. There's also news we'll get to about the vaccines and those dangerous new COVID strains, and later talk about sticking a landing, the big deal that happened on Mars today, and the first photos. But let's start closer to home. Morgan Chesky with the unfolding disaster in Texas.
Tonight, a still frozen Texas facing power outages.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 20.
And now, a water crisis. Nearly 7 million statewide without access to clean drinking water. Tonight, the White House declaring a state of emergency for Texas, Oklahoma, and other affected states.
Texans deserve answers about why these shortfalls occurred and how they're going to be corrected, and Texans will get those answers.
For the first time since...
All right, Salaki, I'm going to go ahead and go with it. As you can see, the Lord jacking these people up, like always, and, it's only getting worse, but it's prophecy. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai, we've been saying this for the longest, starting with the elders on down. The snow that they're drinking, remember, it was poisonous snow because it didn't melt when you put fire to it. It turned black, so you can be expecting people to get sick off of that. Where's the scripture? All right, I'm going to start with this precept. This is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3. It says, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie." Right, the vision is talking about the prophecies. And we are at the end of this man's kingdom. That's why so much stuff is happening back to back, which is messing people's lives up. Slakia. So it says, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry." Right, man. So, Salakia. So, yeah, the prophecies are not, tarrying anymore. The apostles been in it the longest, and they waited for it, man. It will show a great deal of patience and faith. And there's brothers on down have been doing the same thing, man. You know, and Yahweh we have the elect. That's how we're going to receive our crown, because we waited for these prophecies, and Yahweh we continue unto the end, man. You know, so thus far we are following the law, statutes, what the Lord said according to the scriptures. You know, but everybody else is eventually going to, perish through these things. You know. This second Ezra chapter 8, verse 50, it says, "For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the later time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride." Right. And people are going through miseries. They passed all the laws for the homosexuals, the lesbians, the transgenders, for bestiality, for people to have sex with kids, for witches to come out. That's them walking in great pride. The scriptures condemn that type of stuff, man. So can't nobody feel safe. We are not to feel sorry for these people that's going through this, man. Because they're fighting against Yahweh Shemel Shai, even though the truth is out here, man. I'm gonna look up this word misery. A state or feeling of great distress or discomfort of mind and body. Yep, and they going through great distress. Mind in distress, and their bodies in distress. A cause or source of great distress or discomfort is a noun. You know. So yeah, them people going through all types of hell right now. In their spirit and and in their body, man. Because COVID's still around. People sick and going through this. They had to evacuate the hospitals. What about the newborn babies and the children that's in these homes? That's going through this, man.
Since Monday, power outages dipped below 1 million homes, but with water lines frozen or busted, many growing desperate. Others lining up in sub-freezing temperatures, hoping for a chance at much-needed supplies.
I'm trying so hard not to cry.
For Glory Ramos, the food and water vital to help take care of her 3 kids.
I'm very stressed, too, with everything going on.
That's what they get.
But I'm trying.
The situation right now is dire here.
Houston Fire Chief Samuel Pena says emergency calls have tripled. His crew's no longer fighting just fires, but low water pressure.
The water pressure was so low that we were unable to use the fire hydrants.
Patients at an Austin hospital evacuated overnight after it lost power and water. Online, help flooding in for those unaccustomed to sustained cold. Northerners sharing tips, like using melted snow to flush toilets.
You got more chicken coming?
And in Houston, Chef Chris Williams serving up some help with a smile, feeding thousands at a warming shelter, promising hot meals to those still suffering from the brutal cold.
It exposes how
They getting people ready for these concentration camps with a lot of these events that's happening, whether Esau did it or the Lord did it. But another thing, man, all the mocking and stuff that they have done against the prophets, them trying to fight the prophets, brothers that already been through their own situations and everything. This is payback. The payback is coming from Yahweh Shemel Shai. That's why the Lord said, don't avenge yourselves, man. Wait thee upon me until he rise up, and then he gonna give us the power to avenge ourselves. But right now the Lord is kicking ass, so to speak.
fortunate we are to live where we do, to have running water, electricity, and having that taken away from you, it's extreme.
And tonight, this string of winter storms causing serious concerns over our nation's blood supply. Many centers lost donations due to outages and weather conditions. Now, America's Blood Center and the Red Cross urging any healthy adult to please consider donating. Lester?
All right, Morgan, thank you. And minutes ago, I spoke to Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner about what lies ahead for people there. Well, Mayor Turner, thank you for being with us. I know the lights are coming on there, but at the same time, you're looking at another hard freeze overnight. Are there still folks in danger?
There are still folks in danger. There's still people without power. There are still people, for example, that just find themselves in a very precarious state, Lester. Things have changed quite a bit in the last 24 hours. But there are people, we're under a boil water notice right now. And for people who don't have power, that means they don't have the ability to boil their water. So they're having to rely on bottled water. And then there are a lot of people who simply can't afford to go into the stores. So we're trying to do mass distribution sites. But things are real tenuous for a lot of people in the city.
I know there's been a lot of concern regarding the hospitals. Are they getting the water they need?
The pressure for the hospitals has gone up. On yesterday, in terms of pressure, we were below what we call 20 PSI. As of a couple of hours ago, that pressure had increased to 29 and holding, and on its way to 35. So the water pressure in the hospitals has improved. The water pressure, for example, in our county jail has improved. And now we're just doing the best we can to increase the water pressure across the city, especially for people who are in homes and in hotels, things of that nature. But things are improving, but it's still going to take some time to get where it needs to be.
All right, Mayor. Well, yeah, folks in Texas and all of our hearts tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Les.
That massive power failure took officials in Texas by surprise and maybe a wake-up call for other systems around the country amid the challenges of climate change. Here's Stephanie Gosk.
It's now expected to be the largest insurance claim event in Texas history, surpassing even Hurricane Harvey in 2017 and these wildfires in 2011. This winter storm totally overwhelmed the power system in Texas. So how did it happen? On Sunday, ERCOT, which runs the state's power grid, warned of the upcoming disaster.
We could be in emergency operations as early as tonight.
With millions of Texans struggling to keep warm, several power generators failed, crippling the system. ERCOT operators decided to impose rolling outages to prevent a larger collapse.
If we had waited and not done outages, not reduced demand to reflect what was going on the overall system, we could have drifted towards a blackout.
And while there are unique characteristics to the power grid in Texas, climate experts say the whole country can learn from this disaster.
I think every state, every system should really be taking a close look at how they're planning their systems to make sure that it accounts for climate change.
As bad as it has been for Texas, ERCOT today saying those rolling outages actually saved the system.
We wouldn't be sitting here talking about restoration, today, tomorrow. We would be telling you that we're not sure when restoration would be done.
Not much solace for the Texans who are cold and in the dark yet again tonight. Stephanie Gosk, NBC News.
As millions suffer through the cold and loss of power, Texas Senator Ted Cruz flew to Cancun, Mexico, prompting a firestorm of criticism tonight. Gabe Gutierrez is in Houston, where the senator just landed.
Tonight, Senator Ted Cruz is back in Houston after his controversial trip, offering this explanation before he boarded his flight from Cancun.
We had no heat and no power, and yesterday my daughters asked if they could take a trip with some friends, and Heidi and I agreed, so I flew down with them last night, dropped them off here, and now I'm headed back to Texas.
But for many Texans, it was a bad look. Spotted heading to a tourist hotspot that topped 80 degrees while his home state grappled with sub-freezing temperatures and an escalating crisis. Senator Cruz boarded the flight to Mexico yesterday. The pictures quickly went viral. Democrats are now calling on him to resign.
This is just beyond anything that you would expect, regardless of party, during a crisis like this.
It all comes after Cruz had previously criticized Austin's Democratic mayor for flying to Cabo on a private jet while telling his constituents to stay home because of COVID. Stay home. Earlier this week, Cruz had this warning for Texas.
If you can stay home, don't go out on the roads. Don't risk the ice.
Making the optics worse, a source familiar with Cruz's travel arrangements tells NBC News the senator was originally scheduled to return on Saturday, but rebooked his flight early this morning as the controversy erupted.
What's happening in Texas is unacceptable, and a lot of Texans are hurting.
Among them, several we met today who still had no water and were standing in line for propane. What would you tell Senator Cruz if you could?
To get his butt back over here and help us out.
Ted Cruz has never cared about us, I feel like, so I think it's time for a change.
Late today, Senator Cruz did not answer questions from reporters here at the airport. He went out another exit. Lester?
All right, Gabe, thank you. In just 60 seconds, Dr. Anthony Fauci on reopening schools and when things will get back to normal. Plus, will a third vaccine...
Things are never going to get back to normal. But, yeah, that's one of the reasons why the people are going to rise up against these governors and these senators and whatnot. Because, you know, with all with the truth being out here and all this information being out here, people feel that, you know, that they be knowing what be going on and they be, you know, basically taking advantage of the people and, you know, so on and so forth. You get what I'm saying? But this is Isaiah chapter 51 verse 17. Awake, awake, stand up, O Jerusalem, which has drunk at the hand of the Lord the cup of his fury. Thou hast drunken the dregs of the cup of trembling and wrung them out. And that's us being under curses over here in America and everything that we're going through. There is none to guide her among all the sons whom she hath brought forth, neither is there any that taketh her by the hand of all the sons that she hath brought forth. But, you know, the Lord has risen up his prophets, you know, because all the rest of our prophets are sellouts. And other nations don't care for us neither. So it says, these two things are come unto thee, whom shall be sorry for thee, desolation and destruction, and the famine and the sword, by whom shall I comfort thee? Right, man. And what they're going through is how the Lord is comforting them because they didn't want to take heed to the gospel, to prophets. Them crazy guys out there in the dresses that's on the street corners, the ones that rape little kids and everything, but haven't been convicted, you know. Famine. They also say in Democracy Now, I was watching that also. They said there is, of course, if you can't get your electricity on, you can't eat. But there's a lack of food also because of, I forgot exactly what they said, but there's a lack of food down there also because of the storm or something else that had happened. But we know, those that's been paying attention and watching, know that they were already lacking food, hence the reason why they started creating GMOs. But, you know, a lot of the food was already being taken away from all these other events and stuff, man. So that's just Esau trying to, you know, say, you know, cover some stuff up, man. It says, thy sons have fainted, they lie at the head of all the streets as a wild bull in a net. They are full of the fury of the Lord, the rebuke of thy power. And let's talk about the blacks, Latinx, Native Americans, man, on these street corners, gang banging, with the pants sagging, selling drugs. You know, that's the curse that the Lord put on them, man. Therefore, hear now this, thou afflicted and drunken, be but not with wine, you know. Thus said thy Lord, the Lord, and thy power that pleadeth the cause of his people. Behold, I have taken out of thine hand the cup of trembling, even the dregs of the cup of my fury. Thou shalt no more drink it again. And that's us being in this predicament. The curses and stuff that we're under. Eventually, we are going to be delivered. You know, starting with the elect. Yahweh is we have the elect. And then the rest of Israel, you know, going to be birthed back into the kingdom of heaven. And we're not going to go through this type of stuff no more. The curses are going to be upon our enemies, which are the other nations, man. You know, so this, what we're going through, you know, because eventually, you know, eventually all of us going to go through this. And if I'm not mistaken, there's some brothers down there that's going through this right now too. But eventually, you know, because we going to have to be tried in the furnace and in the fire also. You know, so, you know, Um, I lost my train of thought, Slacky. But yeah, we're gonna have to go through this also, man. We're gonna have to endure until the end, man. But we all gonna be delivered eventually. We're all gonna be in the kingdom of heaven, you know. But it says, but I will put it into the hand of them that afflict thee, which have said to thy soul, bow down, Esau, the devil, that we may go over, and thou hast laid thy body as the ground, as the street to them that went over. Let me see if I got one more precept. Okay, yeah. Now I'm gonna end it at that, man. We going through this because of the curses that we're under, and eventually it's gonna be a famine of the word, and all of us are going to be involved in things of this nature. But the Lord gonna have His elect, His people. He gonna always take care of His chosen, the ones that's doing this work, and proclaiming His gospel. And 2/3 are going to be destroyed, man. And then we're all going to be in the kingdom of heaven. So this is only temporary. But with that being said, call Allah Yahweh Shemel Shai. Double honors to the elders and apostles that rule well, and salutations to the brothers that's doing the truth and sincerity. Shalom.